Let's be real, if you were born in the 90s, you occupy a unique space in history. You're not quite a millennial, not quite Gen Z, but something entirely your own. A generation caught between the analog past and the digital future. You're part of a generation that straddled two worlds. We witnessed the dawn of the internet age, the rise of personal computers, and the explosion of mobile technology. We saw the world transform at an unprecedented pace, and we were right there in the middle of it all. We remember dial-up, the agonizingly slow screech that connected us to the online world. We remember waiting minutes, sometimes hours, to download a single song or image. It was a test of patience, a far cry from the instant gratification of today's high-speed internet. VHS tapes, the bulky plastic rectangles that held our favorite movies and TV shows. We remember rewinding them, fast-forwarding through commercials, and the frustration of a tape getting eaten by the VCR. Streaming services? Never heard of them. And a time before every thought was online. A time when boredom wasn't immediately banished by a smartphone screen. We had to use our imaginations, create our own entertainment, and interact with the world around us in a more tangible way. We were thrown from scraped knees and outdoor adventures, building forts in the woods, riding bikes until the streetlights came on, and engaging in epic games of tag that stretched across entire neighborhoods. Our playgrounds were the real world, not virtual simulations, straight into the chaos of the digital age. Suddenly, we were bombarded with information, notifications, and the constant pressure to stay connected. The lines between the real world and the virtual world blurred, and it became increasingly difficult to disconnect. The transition? Brutal. We were expected to adapt to these new technologies without any real guidance or support. We were the guinea pigs, the early adopters, the ones who had to figure it all out on our own. No manual, just a lot of trial and error. We learned by doing, by experimenting, by breaking things and figuring out how to fix them. We became resourceful, adaptable, and resilient. We grew up on promises, the promises of a stable job market, affordable housing, and a secure future. We were told that if we followed the rules, we would be rewarded. Work hard, get good grades, go to college, get a good job, buy a house, and start a family. It was the American dream, and we were told it was within our reach, and life will work out. Spoiler, it didn't. The economy crashed, the job market evaporated, and the cost of living skyrocketed. The American dream became a distant fantasy for many of us. The script we were handed was outdated, irrelevant, and completely out of touch with the realities of the modern world. We were left feeling lost, confused, and betrayed, leaving us unprepared for a world that changed overnight. We were taught to value stability and security, but we were thrust into a world of constant change and uncertainty. Reality hit hard. The realization that our parents' generation had a vastly different experience than we did. The rules had changed, and we were playing a completely different game. Special doesn't pay the rent, and a college degree doesn't guarantee a job. We learned that the hard way, struggling to make ends meet in a world that seemed stacked against us. Or solve existential dread. The weight of the world, the pressure to succeed, and the constant fear of failure became overwhelming. We questioned our purpose, our values, and our place in the world. Now many of us are navigating adulthood, juggling careers, relationships, and financial responsibilities, all while trying to make sense of a world that often feels chaotic and unpredictable. Feeling adrift, wondering if we're the only ones struggling. You're not. We're all in this together, grappling with the same challenges, the same anxieties, and the same sense of uncertainty. This collective WTF is the 90s kid experience, a shared sense of bewilderment, frustration, and a quiet determination to figure things out, even when we don't have all the answers. And understanding it is the first step to moving forward. Recognizing that we're not alone, that our struggles are valid, and that we have the power to create our own path, even if it's not the one we were originally promised. Even before the internet took over and became the omnipresent force it is today, the pressure was already mounting. We often think of the digital age as the sole source of our anxieties, but the truth is, the seeds of our current struggles were sown long before. There was a pre-existing societal framework that emphasized achievement and conformity, setting the stage for the amplified pressures we experience now. Then, early social media kicked off the endless comparison game, a game with no winners, only varying degrees of perceived inadequacy. Platforms like MySpace and early Facebook, while seemingly innocent at the time, began to subtly shift our focus from our own lives to the curated realities of others. It became a constant barrage of our real lives versus everyone's highlight reels. We were only seeing the best versions of people, their vacations, their achievements, their seemingly perfect relationships, and naturally we started to measure ourselves against these unrealistic standards. This created a distorted perception of reality, where everyone else seemed to be thriving while we were somehow falling behind. And on top of that, society pushed a perfect life checklist, a rigid set of milestones we were expected to achieve within a certain time frame. First, ace school, get those top grades, secure a place at a prestigious university, then land the job, the perfect career-defining job, preferably with a corner office and a six-figure salary. Next, buy the house, the white picket fence dream, a symbol of stability and success. Then, find the partner, the soulmate, the one who completes you, and of course get married in a lavish ceremony. And finally, have the kids. The 2.5 children that complete the picture of domestic bliss. Miss a step, deviate from this prescribed path, and you feel like a failure. A profound sense of inadequacy washes over you. Even if those goals aren't yours, even if you don't genuinely desire those things, the societal pressure is so strong that it can feel like you're failing at life itself. Our parents meant well, they truly did, but their advice, often rooted in their own experiences, simply doesn't fit today's rapidly changing world. The job market, with its constant evolution and increasing uncertainty, the economy, plagued by instability and rising costs of living, and the very definitions of success have all undergone a radical transformation. What was once considered the gold standard is now often seen as outdated and irrelevant. All this created a pressure cooker, especially for 90s kids, a generation caught between the traditional expectations of the past and the uncertain realities of the future. So it's no wonder burnout and anxiety are rampant. We've been conditioned to strive for an unattainable ideal, constantly comparing ourselves to others and feeling the weight of societal expectations. Recognizing these pressures, acknowledging the forces that have shaped our anxieties, isn't about making excuses or shirking responsibility. It's about understanding the game, understanding the rules that have been imposed upon us, so we can finally play by our own rules, define our own success, and create a life that is truly authentic and fulfilling. Then came smartphones. Suddenly the internet was everywhere, all the time. Social media became a highlight reel, making our normal lives look dull by comparison. FOMO, fear of missing out, keeps us glued to our screens, chasing validation and feeling left behind. Algorithms feed our anxiety, making us feel isolated even as we scroll endlessly. This isn't a rant against tech. Phones and the internet are powerful tools, but constant digital immersion amplifies our stress and self-doubt. The key isn't ditching your phone, it's learning to use it consciously. Reclaim your mental space from the digital noise. We've spent years, far too many years, worrying about what others think. We've been conditioned to seek external validation, constantly second-guessing our choices based on perceived judgment. This constant concern about external opinions creates a cage, trapping us in a cycle of anxiety and self-doubt. It's time to break free from this pattern. We've been trying to fit into molds that don't fit, squeezing ourselves into predefined boxes that stifle our individuality. We've contorted our personalities, suppressed our passions, and compromised our values in an attempt to conform to societal expectations. This constant pressure to fit in leaves us feeling fragmented and unfulfilled. That's exhausting, utterly and completely exhausting, and it disconnects us from what we actually want. It drains our energy, leaving us feeling depleted and burned out. By prioritizing external validation over our own desires, we lose touch with our inner compass, drifting aimlessly without a clear sense of purpose or direction. The world is changing fast. At an unprecedented pace, technological advancements, social shifts, and economic fluctuations are reshaping the landscape of our lives. What was once considered stable and predictable is now in constant flux, demanding adaptability and resilience. The old rules don't apply. The traditional pathways to success are no longer guaranteed, and the conventional wisdom of the past may not be relevant in the present. We need to forge our own paths, create our own opportunities, and define our own measures of success. In this chaos, this overwhelming sea of information and uncertainty, it's easy to feel lost and disoriented. The constant barrage of stimuli can be paralyzing, making it difficult to discern what's truly important and what's simply noise. Your only reliable compass is your own. Your intuition, your values, and your unique perspective are the guiding forces that will help you navigate the complexities of the modern world. Trust yourself, listen to your inner voice, and follow your own path. You don't find the new rules. They aren't written down somewhere waiting to be discovered. There's no instruction manual for navigating this uncharted territory. You create them. You have the power to define your own reality, to shape your own destiny, and to write your own story. Embrace your creativity, unleash your potential, and become the architect of your own life. Focusing on yourself isn't selfish. It's not about neglecting others or prioritizing your own needs above all else. It's survival. It's about equipping yourself with the tools and resources you need to thrive in a challenging world. Build self-awareness and resilience. Cultivate a deep understanding of your strengths, weaknesses, values, and beliefs. Develop the ability to bounce back from adversity, to adapt to change, and to persevere in the face of challenges. So you're not tossed around by trends or pressure. So you can stand firm in your convictions, resist the allure of fleeting fads, and make choices that align with your authentic self. Prioritizing your growth and well-being is your responsibility. It's an investment in your future, a commitment to your happiness, and a declaration of your self-worth. No one else will do it for you. You are the only one who can truly take charge of your life, to nurture your potential, and to create the life you desire. Waiting for permission or rescue is a dead end. It's a passive approach that relinquishes your power and leaves you vulnerable to the whims of fate. Take ownership. Your life, your shot, your move. Seize the moment, embrace the opportunity, and step into your power. The time for waiting is over. The time for action is now. Self-care isn't just bubble baths and candles. Real self-care is about meeting your basic needs and building sustainable habits. Setting boundaries is crucial. Learn to say no to what drains you. Protecting your time and energy isn't rude, it's necessary. Don't neglect the basics: sleep, nutrition, movement. These aren't luxuries, they're the foundation of health. Ditch the guilt around prioritizing yourself. Investing in your well-being makes you better in every area of life. Self-care isn't a reward, it's the groundwork for everything else. Take care of yourself first, so you can show up for the rest. Enough theory, let's get practical. Start by figuring out what matters to you, not your parents or Instagram. Identify your core values, write them down, revisit them often. Set small, achievable goals. Tiny wins build momentum. Break big dreams into bite-sized steps. Progress is progress. Commit to lifelong learning. Pick up new skills, solve real problems. Learning keeps your brain sharp and boosts confidence. Growth isn't about overnight change, it's about showing up for yourself daily. Forget quick fixes. Real change is built on consistency. You're capable of adapting and thriving. Start small but start now. Let's talk mental health. It's the foundation of everything. For 90s kids, paying attention to your mind is essential, not optional. Prioritizing yourself builds self-awareness. You spot your triggers and patterns. This isn't about judging yourself, it's about understanding and compassion. With awareness, you can choose healthier ways to cope with stress. The payoff? Less anxiety, more resilience, better sleep, and a greater sense of calm. It's not about perfect happiness, it's about handling life's ups and downs with more strength. Invest in your mental well-being, and everything else gets easier. Happiness isn't a destination, it's a byproduct of living in line with your values. When you focus on what truly matters to you, you find those F***yes moments. Purpose isn't a lightning bolt, it's something you build, bit by bit. Meaning comes from consistent action, not a single grand revelation. Purpose can be found in your work, relationships, creativity, or just being kind. When you stop chasing external validation and start listening inward, life feels fuller. Challenges don't disappear, but you face them with more clarity and motivation. That's a damn good way to live. So 90s kid, you've seen the baggage, the pressures, and the digital chaos. You know why focusing on yourself matters, and how to start. The big question, what will you do with this? This isn't a quick fix, it's a lifelong commitment. Some days you'll crush it, some days you'll stumble. That's normal. The effort is worth it. It's the best investment you'll ever make. And you're not alone. There's a whole tribe of us figuring it out together. Join the community, share your story, and support each other. It's time to own your story and design a life that's truly yours. Let's F***C King do this.